We're back again. I am Jacob Harris.
I'm Connor Walsh.
And we are going to watch the new Liver King trailer because apparently this motherfucker's important again. I feel like this is late a little bit. I feel like this is a bit late. I feel like he was popular a while ago and it's kind of weird that they're making another thing. But let's have a look.
Liver is king! Liver King, Liver King, Liver King here. I've been working out for the last 35 years. The last 15 of those years, I've been living an ancestral lifestyle.
Why eat vegetables when you can what?
Eat testicles. Just bone broth, liver, and meat.
That was disgusting, yet very...
What's your stance on that? Do you reckon he actually ate as many like testicles and red meat as he said he did?
Probably not. Having said that, I don't know, he was pretty authentic on camera with how easy he was able to fucking smash down a few testicles. So he definitely looked like there was a little bit of practice consuming some testicles.
Have you ever eaten balls yourself, Connor?
I don't think I ever have.
Would you give him a go?
So, look, if I was on like fucking Fear Factor or something like that, and there was actually something up for grabs, maybe. But if someone was just like, hey, eat a testicle, I'd tell him to get fucked.
Don't you think there'd be good micros in it though?
Look, organ meats do tend to be pretty dense. Quite possibly, but I also don't particularly struggle getting my macronutrient intake in enough to consume testicles.
Yeah, fair enough. I feel the same way about it.
In a quarter, every quarter, we have videos with hundreds of millions of views.
Primals.
I felt like
I just want to point out there's hundreds of thousands of views on this one, bro. So hundreds of millions. Looks like you're not just lying about being natty.
Primals.
I felt like new levels of invincibility.
Light it the fuck up.
People would come to me and say, bro, like, come on, he's on steroids. And I would say, no, man, he's not.
Did you mislead people?
I answer that question for you. Yes. Yes, he did.
But he definitely just misled some people.
He 100% did. I wonder, have you seen his cycle?
Not for a while. I remember there was a lot of peptides and growth hormone, and I remember it being pretty stupid overall.
So do you want to break that down for us, Connor? What do you reckon?
All right, so if it's just the dot points is what he's taking, so IGF-1, LR3, that's probably supposed to be, there's no dose there. That's a research chemical. It is IGF-1 with an extra kind of amino acid sequence attached to it to make it last longer in the body. Mixed reviews on effectiveness. I personally seem to do quite well with IGF. Most people don't seem to get a huge amount out of IGF compounds other than potentially legitimate Increlex, which is too expensive and too hard to find for anyone that's watching this to likely have any reason to even talk about it. CJC with ipamorelin. There's two types of CJC. I don't know which one he's using. One's a short half-life, one's got a long half-life. CJC tells your pituitary to produce more growth hormone. Ipamorelin tells your pituitary to dump the growth hormone that's being produced as a result of the increased GHRH signaling from the CJC. So you kind of get a bit of a synergistic effect there when you combine GHRH and GHRP. Ibutamorin, which is MK677, which is another growth hormone secretagogue, works fairly similarly to the GHRP. It is a ghrelin agonist, kind of mimics the action of ghrelin, which increases growth hormone production and secretion, probably slightly beating a dead horse at this point, combining the MK677, CJC, and ipamorelin. There could be uses for all three of them at once, but it would depend on how often he's taking them.
This podcast is proudly sponsored by Achievement Apex. Over the last 3 years, Achievement Apex have gone from their first prototype barbell to having all three of their specialty bars featured in some of the world's biggest competitions. Their deadlift bar features their custom-designed ridge-lock knurling and anti-slack sleeves, which ensures the weight is perfectly centralized every single rep. And on top of that, it's been used for multiple 505-kilo world record attempts. This year, they're expanding their products, kicking off with the full Affinity Grip collection. That includes Strongman Tacky, No Sweat, Invisible Death Grip, and the standout liquid chalk, Alien Grip Jizz, which is widely regarded as the world's best liquid chalk. Just like their deadlift bar, these grip products have been battle-tested at the highest level, including the World Strongman Games. If you're looking to strengthen your grip, or even just avoid dropping the bar, maybe you want a new bar altogether. Check out the Achievement Apex. Visit apex.fit and use code PORTAPOTTY to get 10% off your entire order at the checkout. That's apex.fit and code PORTAPOTTY.
Also, the IGF-1 LR3 is probably also shooting himself in the foot a little bit because you still have negative feedback to the pituitary from IGF-1. So by taking exogenous IGF-1, he's going to be giving some degree of negative feedback to the pituitary that the pituitary doesn't actually need to produce much growth hormone, because IGF-1 levels are already elevated, and that is part of the negative feedback that your body uses to regulate growth hormone production. Quite possibly a bit of redundancy there, and a bit of making each compound less effective by using them at the same time. Omnitrope, believe that is a pharmaceutical brand of GH. It looks like he's been taking 5.8 milligrams. If you kind of go up to there, which I think it's 3 milligrams roughly per 10 IUs, so maybe it must be nearly 20 units worth.
I just looked it up. You are correct about the growth hormone.
As in that the Omnitrope's growth hormone?
Yes.
So I think 5.8 milligrams comes out, I believe it's 3 milligrams per 10 IUs is what roughly it is equivalated to. So that would be very hefty dose if that's what he's talking about per day. Again, a little bit weird taking that much growth hormone and then also taking such an extensive stack of growth hormone secretagogues, because at that point there's going to be a shitload of negative feedback to the pituitary, and you're going to be getting such minimal endogenous growth hormone production from the use of these peptides that you're not getting much out of them. Maybe a slight bit of potentiation due to the fact that when you inject growth hormone exogenously, that you're only getting one type of growth hormone. We actually produce a few different variations of growth hormone. So there may be some very small synergy there, but for me, it's kind of just beating a dead horse. Test SIP 0.6 cc's a week. You can tell he's really a bro because that's really not a measurement. You're probably going to presume the test SIP is generally dosed at 200 milligrams per mil, so 160 milligrams a week of testosterone, which is a legitimate TRT dose. And he does state there that it's a cruise dose, so a health phase kind of thing for him. So presumably he probably takes more through other phases of the year. Deca at 0.6 cc's per week. Typically that's 200 milligrams per mil, so that's probably about 120 milligrams of nandrolone. Fairly common additive to cruises, especially as you get a bit older. Has some potential around joint lubrication and improvements in collagen synthesis that particularly your slightly older crowd tend to like. And then throwing the Winstrol in here is just fucking completely against the grain of everything else he's doing. Because
I was just going to say, my understanding is like Winstrol does the opposite of what you just mentioned that Deca will do in terms of lubrication. I've heard it really dries things out and makes your joints feel pretty fucked.
Very much so, and in some cases using the two together can be beneficial because obviously you kind of counteract some of the negative side effects of each. However, Winstrol is typically very rarely used outside of the end of a competition prep for a bodybuilding setting, and in that setting you're almost never going to be using Deca because you want to be dry. Winstrol is quite underrated for strength. I have used it at short periods, but it is just not bearable because of the joint side effects that come along it. But it does actually drive strength from like a cholinergic and androgenic point of view quite well. It's another reason why it's quite liked by the sprinters. Very dry, minimal weight gain, but does give quite noticeable power output increases. But the main thing that doesn't make sense there is more the fact that he's saying he's on a cruise. And I mean, everything else that has been listed to this point, you could justifiably say is a cruise at a certain level. I mean, not a cruise for a gym rat, but that's all fairly mild compounds that you would expect most people would be able to get their blood work to a good spot on those compounds. The Winstrol is fucking total opposite. That is, you throw everything in the shitter. That's kind of a 4 to 6 week drug. At most, you're going to use it as a single kind of stint. You would expect to see lipid parameters get pretty fucked up. You would expect to see liver markers also get pretty messed up, mildly kidney toxic, not going to be great for appetite, just generally a harsh drug. Makes no sense to cruise on.
Yeah, seems like a weird choice. I remember like John Skywalker and shit using it back in the day and like smoking cigarettes, doing pull-ups and stuff and running stuff like, or people talking about them running stuff like Winstrol and shit, obviously because those cunts used to just love being like shredded, but they were usually always pretty small. But I just remember hearing that like on a few forums, I'd read it as well, just like the constant complaining about how Winstrol made people's joints feel, and like almost everyone I've spoken to like kind of having experiences with it, but then like not going back to it just simply because of what you said. Like it was just unbearable and wasn't worth it.
Yeah, look, outside of competitive bodybuilding or maybe a few niche athletic situations, I think there's better drugs for most jobs than Winstrol. I used it twice when I was younger. Same deal. The joint side effects just became too great. Positives were terrific. It was definitely a potent androgen that did drive training performance very well, but it just wasn't something that you could sustain for any longer than a couple of weeks. And it also probably gave me considerably more side effects than most other oral steroids have given me in terms of just general well-being. I noticed that my urine color was really dark on it as well. I don't think there was any blood work that was particularly bad, but my general sense of well-being and just a few kind of day-to-day signs would have suggested that it was probably a bit harsher than most other oral steroid compounds that I'd used.
Well, there you go. Liver King's full of shit, and even the cycle he ran was pretty shit.
Liver King's liver's going to shit if he keeps running 50 milligrams of Winstrol a day.
Fucking boom. This podcast is sponsored by PedTest Australia. If you plan on using or are currently using performance-enhancing drugs, it is very important that you make sure you are doing so, having them been tested before you use them or while you are using them, to make sure that you take care of your health. And you can also recommend that the people around you do so as well. Go to PedTest Australia on Instagram to find out more about the details on how you can test your current performance-enhancing drugs that you are using, or you can find out more about testing other compounds or things that you are putting in your body if you would like to make sure that you take care of your health. There you go. That'll be a great snippet. Thanks for that, Connor. That'll be real good.
Maybe that's the stick. He put this out on purpose, and now it's like, hey, look, you too could run 50 milligrams of Winstrol on your cruise. All you have to do is eat shit tons of fucking liver, and then your liver's just gonna like fix itself, bro.
Yeah, and use my supplement. Ancestral nutrition. Yeah, grass-fed beef. How much is it?
US dollars as well, so
yeah, it's pretty up there. Which I don't know which one to go for. They're all so amazing. Bull testicle, 100% bull testicle. I feel like let's look at his multivitamin because like it's $50. What's in it? Does it tell us?
I don't know how they would even be able to standardize this because it is well known. For example, the vitamin A content of livers are so varying that you can run into vitamin A overload from eating a certain liver, but maybe not another. So,
but surely things like folate and stuff like that, or like some of this stuff is like fairly negligible in terms of the small amount that's in there. I mean, folate you don't need tons of, but like it just seems like the amounts of things are a bit skewed and kind of random. Maybe further down will be worth, like, dude, 9 milligrams of sodium. I don't know. Like, is that?
Yeah, it's just subject to obviously what's in the products though, but also because there's so much variation from organ to organ, even within the same species, standardizing the nutritional information would be quite difficult. I would imagine that there would be a lot more variation from bottle to bottle and pill to pill, depending on which liver of which animal, etc. Here and there you get.
Well, all I can say is that they've spelt potassium wrong, so I'm probably not going to take a supplement where they've spelt potassium wrong. That makes me nervous.
Yeah.
And I don't give a fuck what anyone says. 1.51 milligrams of magnesium and 9.12 milligrams of sodium. That's fucking negligible, bro. That's like irrelevant. That's not doing anything. Like that is such a stupid, either put more in there or just don't put it in is my guess. But I mean,
Yeah.
Who knows? I'm not ancestral, so I don't know.
The thing with this is just using, it doesn't look like he's added any like single micronutrients. It's all just whatever is contained within these organs.
I get the point, but it's like
most of them are insufficient. The choline, 22.5 milligrams, choline's fuck all. I believe you want about, I think the RDA for choline's 400 milligrams. 160 micrograms of zinc is fuck all. I think the RDA for zinc is 17 milligrams, something like that.
Yeah, about that.
Sodium is 2,800, maybe. I think somewhere around that nature.
Potassium's like 3,500 or something to 4,000, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's a shitty RDA, but
it should be higher.
Should be higher for sure, yeah. Selenium, I don't know the RDA off the top of my head, but most selenium supplements, which I am an advocate of in many situations, come in 100 microgram doses. I personally supplement with 200 milligrams of selenium 2 times per day. So that 3.9 micrograms there is not doing very much.
What about the copper? The copper is 140 micrograms.
Copper is like 1.2 milligrams. So that would be about 10 to 15% of your RDA for copper.
you still got copper, right? I suppose, Liver King, but you can still cop a dick, you lying piece of shit, and your supplements crap. I would not spend $50 on this.
50 US as well. So like 80 Australian dollars for this.
80 Australian dollars. And how many 120 capsules too, which is like pretty standard for a multivitamin pack, but like, what does that work out to per capsule?
How many caps per serve though?
4 capsules, cunt.
4 caps. It's 30 serves for $80.
That's
Life
horrendous.
extension, 1 per day multi. That's all you need. Go to iHerb. It's like, I don't know, $40 or something like that. You get a 2-month supply and you get the RDA or more for the majority of things that are listed within that supplement.
So, Liver King, you're full of shit. Your supplement shit. I haven't seen your workouts, but I have actually. I've seen some of your workouts. They're shit too. Yeah, so I don't really know how you manage to look the way you do, because even though I wouldn't want to look like a fucking squeezed ball sack, your physique, while it isn't aesthetically pleasing, he actually still has a fair amount of muscle. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's just the gear and the testicles, but
he's pretty small for 20 units of farm grade growth hormone. I've just kind of finished running up an experiment alternating between 10 and 20 units of like pretty average shitty grade Chinese generics, and I can't even really train my upper body fully right now, and I still look pretty fucking large. And I feel like using that much pharmaceutical grade growth hormone, the amount of fullness alone you get from the growth hormone directly, which is not even lean tissue, it's just glycogen retention, like you should look big.
Do you reckon it's in your mustachio? Do you reckon the Lorax mustache is helping?
It's it,
yeah,
for sure. But like straight up, like I could give you 20 units of growth hormone for 3 days, and cosmetically, like you wouldn't put muscle on, but you would look significantly larger after 3 days. You would be rounder and fuller.
Connor, are you trying to give me growth hormone for 3 days? Is that what you trying to say that?
I mean, it would be a fun experiment to see how big Jacob could get in less than a week.
This is basically check-ins with Connor when you do nutrition with him. It's like, hey man, so I'm trying to build muscle and like eat cleaner and stuff. And he's like, yeah, cool, man. So seems like you're doing pretty well. You could be doing way better with heaps of this shit. But all good, bro. Just keep being a skinny nanny little bitch. That's fine. All good. I'll see you next week. And you're like, oh, sweet, man. Awesome. Cheers for the check-in. This podcast is sponsored by Bulk Gym Chalk. Do you struggle to hold on to your deadlifts? If so, it can be very important to make sure that you have good quality chalk and access to that chalk. So go to Bulk Gym Chalk. You can find them on Instagram and get yourself some good quality chalk so that you can make sure that you can train in the gym and get the best out of your training while doing so.
Yeah, maybe we'll use some modafinil though.
Yeah, well, to be fair, man, I feel like I'm slightly getting to a point where I could fall asleep in this chair right now, I reckon. So maybe I might need it.
Yeah, modafinil's fucking, it's good. It is one hell of a drug.
We need to go into it more because that got a lot of, that'll get a lot of the cunts on TikTok fucking modafinil. Fuck yeah, they love that. But so far, this was a good thing to go over because I didn't think about getting his cycle or his supplements up. So we just wanted to watch the shitty trailer for his new fucking thing. But that was actually, and I love how it's like untold, Liver King. This has been very told. It's all over everywhere.
Documented thing in history.
Yeah, he's clearly trying to come back or something, man. Who fucking knows? But it was a good episode. Maybe once the documentary comes out, if this gets a decent amount of interest, we might even watch the documentary. I'm assuming it'll go for like an hour and we can make fun of the shit in it.
A few moments later.
Yeah, sure.
Out of all of the hours of footage posted threatening Joe Rogan, the wildest video from the Liver King crash out has to be the one taken right after arriving in Austin when he threatened Joe Rogan with his dogs.
Guess what? You're dead, bitch. You're dead. You're dead because Welcome to Texas. We just got here.
I feel like you didn't really say that. Was like a weird level of conviction. Like he was like, "You're dead," but then he was like, "Yeah." Like he kind of relaxed. It was a bit strange.
Like that he was like talking to the online community or something. I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe there was like a brief sense of reality that like clicked in there for one very brief second.
Maybe. It doesn't seem to even be mentioning it now.
Anything and everything. Because Joe Rogan, we don't have to make videos to pretend anymore. All of this is happening. We're coming to you.
Some people have mentioned this. What do you think about this, Connor? That sort of one pupil not dilated and then this one really dilated.
He had some fucking thing, I remember like 12 months ago where a band snapped or something and he smacked him in the eye and he nearly lost his eye. He had a fucking eye patch for a while.
Man to man to a fight. Honorable. And we don't have to pretend or make any videos. The world is watching. They'll make the videos for us. And you don't have to hold a camera you can hold the hand of somebody that you love, because what happens next to you, you're going to need to remember that feeling. You're going to need something more than what you did to give you something to fight for, because I have my family to fight for, and then I'll die for them. You know that. And you're a black belt, but you've never come across something like this. Willing to die, hoping that you'll choke me out. I pray to God, because that's a dream come true. It feels good. And then the limbs, I'm fighting for my family. So limb.
That choked out line was a bit erotic.
It was a little bit.
Well, he was arrested.
I wonder what the family thinks. Surely at this point they've got to be like just ready to disown him.
You'd think that he would have people around him that'd be like, hey man, maybe don't.
Or just like stay off social media for a while.
Imagine you're at like a 5-star hotel and your room's like $1,200 a night, and you just walk out down the hallway to
Like it's some gorilla with an ankle monitor.
just. You'd be like, bro, can you just fucking go back to your room? Like, what are you even doing, man? He's got a Ninja Turtle physique, eh? Looks better than me, but I would prefer not to be doing all the drugs he's doing, because it seems like he doesn't. Look at his face there, man. That doesn't
It
look
looks
good.
terrible.
This is Joe Rogan.
Jim Riggs.
Someone in the comments. So we're all on the same page saying it's meth? Yeah, bro. I think so. That seems meth.
I would have to agree. I'm probably leaning towards meth as well.
Oh, hang on a second. Here we go. Scorpion venom. Would you know much about scorpion venom, Connor?
Not part of my normal protocols.
Well, there's detriments as well.
Apparently.
There's healing properties of scorpion venom. I mean, we obviously have to look further into this, but there's some really interesting things being said. I was not aware people were trying to use it against cancer. That's interesting. $10 million a litre. To be honest, you almost have to think about this, right? We've just watched the documentary, Party Wonders. Did he do this almost to promote the documentary?
Could be.
August 2nd, man. It's very convenient timing. I'm just saying. We had to check it out and add it on to the end of this. I don't know that we really figured out anything from it. It seems like he filmed videos upon videos saying the same thing. It does look like Liver King's on meth. So
Yes.
don't do meth, guys.
He's still pretty jacked for like a meth head, but like, yeah, he's not looking real great. He looks like he's aged about 20 years in the last 12 months, and he's already terrible looking blood pressure. It looks even worse.
He's wearing 2 watches in this video. That's pretty baller. He always knows what time it is. I think we're not going to waste any more time on this, but it was a funny thing to look at. This guy's a very strange individual, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it turns out. I would love to see him fight Joe Rogan. We are going to leave that one there.
Sounds good to me.